Hey guys, welcome. Today what I got here is a little bit of a project I picked up. Not quite sure what I was getting myself into, but I figured, hey, it can't be that big of a deal. What I have here is an 84 K10 Chevy Silverado. I had a similar truck back in the day, and I actually picked this thing up. The guy said it was running, driving. I showed up and it was not running or driving, and no battery. And needless to say, I had to have it trailered home. And it's overall, it's not too bad of shape. I know you probably can't see too well here, but we got a little bit of rust. But for the year, 84, cab corners, of course, are gone. And, you know, up through here, this is gone. And back here, this is gone. But front's good. And I got a whole new body panel here if I need to put it on. The rockers are actually a couple little holes there, but they should be redone, but they're not too bad. Anyways, so what I've tried to do with this truck so far, bought a new battery. I bought a new negative cable terminal lead because the one that was in there was way too short. And so the guy that I got it from hooked it up backwards and blew something in there. So he didn't know what it was. He was not mechanically inclined. So after doing a little bit of research on this thing, these trucks have what they call fusible links in them. And what all a fusible link is basically a wire. Excuse the wind here today. A wire that is about 4 gauges smaller than the wire it's supplying. So this is a 16 gauge fusible link wire. It's specifically called fusible link wire, and you can buy it at auto parts stores or online. I found this one locally at a Napa. There was a wire. We'll grab it and we'll take a look here under the hood. Up on the firewall here, there's a fuse block, they call it. So this wire right here is a 12 volt power wire that comes from the starter up to this fuse block, and then the fuse block feeds the fuse panel, and then it also feeds the heater, which the wire goes on the opposite end there and it powers the heater. Those wires right now are fried, so I got to replace all those. And here's the wire I replaced. It's just wire nutted right in there right now. I'm gonna have to do this correctly, you should solder it and heat shrink it, and then this becomes your fuse. One thing I did forget to mention, I did replace the starter thinking that might be the issue. That was not the issue, but now I got a brand new starter. They're 60 bucks, they're cheap. And they're pretty easy to replace. Now what I'm trying to do is solve, so I got power in here. Since I replaced this one wire, that gave me power in the truck, which I did not have power before, and then it also will crank the engine now. The next step, he said, was, well, you know, when I was driving it, it ran okay, and then once I'd get up to about 45 miles an hour on the highway, it would stall and die. You know, it wouldn't die, but it'd start chugging and it wouldn't run good. So the first step to do with these things, he said he had a buddy that checked the timing. Hopefully they didn't mess it up too bad. First thing to check on this thing is a fuel filter. And on these old Quadrajet carburetors, this is a 305 with a Quadrajet. CFM, I have no clue, but there's a fuel filter in here. I just got done taking the old one out, and it was packed full of white goo. And the filter itself was also bulged out in the middle. So here's a brand new filter. You can buy best quality filter, $5 for a new Wix filter. So we're gonna throw this guy in there and put it in the right direction. And hopefully this will solve our non-starting issue and our other issue of not running very well when you're getting up to speed. I checked the fuel pump, so I took this off. I stuck a little thing in there and I got fuel pressure. I also got a hose here that needs to be lengthened. So I have fuel pressure coming off the pump, and the pump looks fairly new, so we're pretty good there. But this, just give it a little snug. It doesn't need to be super tight. There we go. And then we'll run our line back in here. These are hard lines, so make sure you get them screwed back in there properly, which can always be a chore. Funny enough, with my old truck, I had my old truck for probably 10 years, and I don't think I ever replaced the fuel filter on it. Never thought about it, never needed to. Maybe that was an issue. Or if I did, I don't remember doing it. I will mention I did pay this guy about half of what he was asking for because it didn't run or drive, although he sat there and swore up and down, oh, it runs, it drives, it runs great. So let me hop in there, get the stuff out of the way, nothing that falls and hits anything. Let's hop in there and see if this guy will crank. Hopefully it'll start right up with that new fuel filter. Give her a shot here. Well, that didn't work. I do know that when I splash gas in the carburetor that it does fire off, and it runs actually pretty decent for a minute or two. Alright, well, let's try it again here.
Nothing. That's so far nothing good. We haven't found anything.
Alright, well, got it running. The next problem, it's got no power steering. I figured I'd just pour some power steering fluid in there, be good to go. Nope, that thing leaks just about as fast as you put it in. So I'm going to take this one out. I got a new one coming. And first things first, take this one out, put a new one in. Alright, well, I got her off of there, and now I'm just going to take this old high pressure line off. The low pressure line is gone. I'm not going to reuse this. I just bought a new one because they're so cheap. So I just want to take this out just to get it off. There we go. Flare net wrench. Got her off here. So yeah, this hose is 20 bucks for a new one, so might as well just, as long as we're doing this, might as well replace it. While this hose still looks good, I don't see any leaks on it. And it's probably a good quality US made one, but we'll replace it. Next step is we got to get our pulley off of here. Alright, well, now that I got it figured out here, and of course, why wouldn't it be some metric size instead of a standard size? Alright. Oh, Jesus. That's snug. Jeepers. I feel like something's about to snap here. Or if I dare stick an impact on it. Let's give this a shot. Let's see if we can break something here. That is potentially moving it. Pulling it. Not very well. The old crescent wrench. USA made crescent wrench. Woo! That was a lot of work. Huh. Surprised that little tool worked. That baby's hot. That's the button that was in there to pull it. Hopefully my new one is threaded properly. I gotta get this thing out of there. That'll be the next trick. There we go. Woo! There we go, one pulled. Well, just literally painted this thing. So, I'm gonna clamp it down. So here's our beautiful reman. Be the only shiny clean thing inside the truck. And I gotta remember how this attaches. It goes like that. No? Like that. There we go. Get that on there, get that on there, get that on there. And it'll work perfect when you go to put it back together, except for now it's all effed up. Well, we'll have to do some machining. The end of that thing is charred up. Well, it seems to go on a hell of a lot easier than it came off. We're getting there. Boy, that's pretty friggin' close. I don't know if I dare go any further. Alright. Alright, so of course, I had to replace the exhaust, I don't know what you call them, exhaust header gasket. Which if you've never seen one, they look like this. It's just a little donut thing. And of course, as always, there's just 3 bolts holding that to from the exhaust flange there to the exhaust manifold. And of course, every time you go to take them apart, your exhaust bolts between the manifold and the exhaust pipe shear off, and they're stuck in the header. The exhaust manifold, excuse me. So now I'm gonna have to pull off the exhaust manifold, get a new set of exhaust manifold gasket sets for this side. I got the donut for this side, which will go in easy, get some new bolts, and yeah, fun. So I got everything stripped off here. I got 1 bolt off. I got I think 4 more to go, or 3 more to go here. So I'll just yank the rest of these out here, and hopefully it'll go off without a hitch. Well, that's a first for me. So here's what's left of our donut, which is pretty much nothing. There are no gaskets between the block and the exhaust manifold here. And I've got oil leaking down in here. I had a loose spark plug on, I don't know what side we are, but the 3rd one back. I don't know if these are 1, 2, maybe cylinder 4 there, or 6. And yeah. Now I gotta get these babies out of there. Well, this is quite interesting, I must admit. So I was halfway expecting these bolts to shear off. They always shear off. They never come out. This is one of the worst designs ever, but it's the way they put them together. The heat riser here, I'm not sure if I'm going to replace it or not. I mean, as long as it functions, I could save the... I'll see how much they are. If they're cheap, I'll just replace it. There should be a gasket in between the riser and the manifold here, but yeah, this just boggles my mind that there is absolutely no manifold gasket here. It's just nothing. And I think what I got going on here, you see a bunch of oil there. I think I've got a valve cover gasket that's leaking oil and going down here. I think this is my rattling issue. I'm tempted to take this stupid thing off of here. There's really no use for it anymore. I got rid of the... Ooh, we don't want to lose our washers. I got rid of the... There's no more air pump or anything on here, so this is... I might cut this thing off. just kind of gets in the way. It's a heat shield more than anything at this point in time for the spark plugs. All right, so as you saw, I just did the 3/16. Now I'm stepping up to a 1/4 inch. I believe these are, I'm gonna say 5/16 or 3/8 inch holes, but being that we're smack dab in the middle of that guy, I'm gonna 1/4 inch it and we'll see if we can get it out from there. I don't know if I'm gonna drill much more beyond that. Again, we're smack dab in the middle of that, but I don't know if I want to go much further with that guy, so I'm going to step over to the other hole. We'll do that one next. Alright, here's the same thing. We'll try and get smack dab in the center there. I'm just kind of guessing, more or less. We're gonna do a total revamp here. So I found a way that I could actually clamp this thing in my milling machine without causing too much trouble. Hopefully it'll stay in place. But I'm just gonna mill each one of these bastards out and then tap them, re-tap them, because they're stuck in there tight and they ain't coming out. So this should do something for it. Unfortunately, my only good end mills are nice, sharp, high-speed steel end mills that I don't really look forward to using on this project, but what am I to do? Well, that cleaned the top half of it up. All right. Well, these are 3/16, and we'll see. Hopefully we didn't slice too much out of there. I got one that's gonna work. All the rest of the threads come out of there. That's fantastic. That's what we want. So all that work just to put some bolts back in that are going to freeze up again one day. There we go. That's sufficient. I can live with that. Let's try this one. Started good. It's going to be enough to hold the bolt. Watch the gunk falls out the bottom. Now watch, I'll snap a tap in there. That would suck. I don't know why I go through all these trouble for these crappy stock manifolds. This is the one I'm scared of. There we go. Well, we got most of the threads in there. I accidentally milled a couple of them off, but there's plenty to hold in there. Well, after a little bit of searching on the internet and everywhere else, actually a local parts store was able to order me in a set of new manifold bolts in the whole set. So these things are not cheap. If you can even find them, they're 10 to 11 bucks a piece. But they had this box in another store, and it looks like this used to be orange, so it looks like it's been sitting around for quite some time. Fortunate enough for me, I was able to get them here within a day, basically. The other thing I didn't notice, I don't know if you can see it here, but these middle threads here are like cross-threaded, basically. Not cross-threaded, but they're smashed down so they can basically stick in there and never come out, which is awesome. But I'm going to put these back in. We'll get this all back together, get the flange gaskets back in there, or the manifold gaskets back in there, and get everything back together. Thought it'd never be there, but here we are. So now that guy is ready to clean up the block for the gaskets, and it's ready to go back on. Alright, we got everything put back together. Our third spark plug in there, I think that's number 6, is snug where it was rattling before. We got our manifold here, and this is pretty simple to put back together. I mean, it's way more of a pain in the butt to get it apart than it is to put it back together. Not sure if there's a face to these or if they just go in any which direction. Alright, well, let's start it up and see what it sounds like. Hopefully not like a race car. Hey guys, just a little conclusion on this video you just watched. So that was several months ago that I did that video, actually, in that 84 K10 Chevy pickup. Ending to that story was, once I actually got the exhaust and all that stuff fixed, I could hear that there was actually a bad knock on cylinder 1 or 2, first one on the driver's side. And it was either a bad wrist pan or a bad rod bearing, because there was I think I knew at that point in time that there was no compression in that cylinder. The compression was really low, and that plug would fall out really bad. So the bearing was probably off or bad a little bit, and it was causing the timing to be off a little bit for the valve train, and following that out, and low compression, all that stuff. So, and the second thing was the transmission. We actually took it out and drove it. Here's a picture of us driving it, and if you can see my son in there, he's smiling. He was pretty happy. He had fun with that thing. But we drove it and the transmission just did not shift the way it was supposed to, and it was a hard shift in a couple spots, and it revved up high, and just the transmission was probably junk. So the transmission and the engine were probably in the stage of needing to be replaced, and just put a whole new engine tranny in that thing and it would have been great. I don't really have the resources here. I did most of that stuff out in my driveway. My garage isn't big enough for that, so I ended up selling it to a kid. No, he wasn't a kid, but a guy younger than me anyways. A guy that took it on, and I don't know what he ended up doing with it, but the body was still in pretty nice shape. It was just the engine transmission, which on those truck, you know, you can swap an engine transmission in a day if you got a little bit of time in the tools. So that's the ending of it. I wish I could have had more for you here, but I did get it running from a non-running vehicle. We replaced, going back and looking at this video now, I replaced a lot of stuff on that thing that, I replaced it all, and I basically kind of just got my money back out of it, not including all the time that I spent on it. And it was funny, that whole carburetor issue where I tried to get that working, it was actually, that truck had 2 fuel tanks, and I was trying to start it on the empty fuel tank. So once I switched it over to the tank that had some fuel in it, it started right up actually. So yeah, anyways. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Please let me know if you enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments below. Give me some feedback. I can do more stuff like that. I got more stuff like that coming up. I got a forklift back actually out here that I'm working on, an old Alice Chalmers Buddha that I picked up, and that is in the process right now of getting fixed up. So I'm making that video and all sorts of other stuff. So let me know. I appreciate it. Smash the like button. That helps. Doesn't cost you anything. Subscribe with the notification, and that also helps me, and it'll help you see if I got any new videos coming up. Alright, that should be it. So until next time, we'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.